There was a saying in our that हमारी जो फिल्में होती हैं वो समाज का आईना होती है.
बिल्कुल.
The films are the mirrors of what's happening in the society.
आजादी का मतलब क्या? ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह. हम क्या चाहते हैं? निज़ाम मुस्तफा. गरीब गरीब to salute. Have you heard those slogans in Kashmir?
This film is dedicated to all the communities that have been ever persecuted in the history of world.
Correct.
So that in itself makes this film very universal.
Why is Exodus not in our textbooks?
Why did he?
Why is the Exodus not in our textbooks?
It should
Why
be in the
shouldn't
textbook.
children know that?
It should be.
Took a foreigner to shoot a movie about our father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi. Many times Bollywood wakes up late. But let us not remember, Bollywood has also given us Uri. Bollywood has also given us movies like Border. So there has been, yes, the left liberal lobby dominated the narrative for years.
Welcome back to the debate this weekend. And as I open up the second part of the debate, we had a great debate in the first part where we basically asked a very fundamental question about whether Bollywood will understand and correct itself. Because it's gone into this cold kind of silence. They don't know how to react to the Kashmir File films. I think they are guilty. They have a reason to be guilty. They've not been able to handle it. The film has done very well, but it has opened up the conscience of many people also. It has woken up their conscience. And it has certainly challenged Bollywood as it is, both in terms of the content that's coming in out of Bollywood. I think that will also change. But the real question is, we should ask ourselves, what about the Kashmiri Pandits themselves? What happens after the film? Will they go back? Do they have a home to go back to? Will they feel safe or secure? Or will these same Farooq Abdullahs, Omar Abdullahs, these separatists, will they continue to sort of gloat over the fact? They'll say, come back. Ahmad Ayaz comes on my program every time. He says, who's stopping you? Come back. He's joining us from Srinagar today. But he would not have been able to go back if he was a Kashmiri Pandit today. So I'm going to open the debate today with Nasir Khomani, J&K Students Association. I think J&K Students Association should organize a public screening in Srinagar. Call thousands of people and tell them to watch the film. Tell them to watch. Tell them to understand what happened in their own state. Tell them to ask after the film who were the cowards.
Arnab, we don't believe on lies.
Now Irfan Hafiz Loan, Ahmad Ayaz, Nasir Khomani on one side. And with me here in the studio is Anmol Ganju. And Anmol Ganju's grandfather, the great Justice N. Ganju, was killed by the terrorists. For which reason? Because he sentenced the terrorists to death. Vivek Raina is with me today. Kashmiri Pandit in the studio there, and he's the son of A.K. Raina. His father was killed by Bitta Karate. So Nasir, be careful when you say lies. There are people who have died here, and there are people who have lost parents. So just be careful when you say lies. Death is not a lie. A genocide is not a lie. A killing is not a lie. If you can't handle it,
we are not saying.
If you can't, no, 1 second. Therefore, I didn't open up. So no, I am only responding. I didn't even ask you a question, but I am only asking you a question. But please don't intervene right now because I haven't asked you the question yet. I'm doing my introductions. Utpal Kaul is with us today, He's international coordinator of the Global Kashmiri Pandit Diaspora. He helped Vivek Agnihotri make the Kashmir Files. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. Ashok Pandit is with us today. Shall we open up the debate, please? I want to start with you, Mr. Kaul. This film is more than a film. But will the Kashmiri Pandits be able to go back? Is there hope there? What happens after the film? What happens to the Kashmiri Pandits?
Very good evening, Arnab ji. I am coming first time to your studio, and thank you very much for inviting me. Let me tell you, that Kashmiri Pandits are victims of generational genocide. And it was the 7th genocide with us. And this was the worst genocide ever. 500,000 people out of home on the roads of Jammu, Delhi and other nearly 30 cities. Our 20,000 houses burned. Our 450 temples destroyed and burnt. And then not to talk of land and business and everything finished. And we were waiting for last 32 years. Something will come that this nation will rise and say that how this community was hounded out by terrorists. They will recognize our genocide and they will recognize what jihad does in Kashmir and elsewhere. What was the role of Pakistan? And then what was the role of Indian administration, whether in Delhi or in Srinagar? What was the role of political establishments, political parties, and what was the role of bureaucracy? India became Banana Republic in 1890. It was very, very unfortunate for us that Mufti Muhammad Said was Home Minister of India. Can we believe where our great Iron Man Sardar Patel was sitting and on that chair was sitting Mufti Muhammad Said? He never allowed real administration and real culprits to be caught and real administration in Srinagar. I may tell you, Mr. Arnab Goswami here, that 19th of January is the climax, but real exodus of Kashmiri Hindus was from 28th of December. On 27th of December, our prominent lawyer of Anantnag, Premnath Bhatt, was killed. And next day, exodus started when nearly hundreds of Kashmiri Pandits from Anantnag and Anantnag district from South Kashmir left their home, leaving everything there. And even it was very difficult, cremation of Premnath Bhatt. I was student leader of Kashmiri Pandits, Kashmiri Hindus in Kashmir. I was president of Hindu Yuvak Forum. And I met all leadership. On 28th, I went to Delhi and I went straightway to senior leaders like Atal Bihari Vajpayee, L.K. Advani ji, and I met all these leaders.
So 1 minute, can I come be brought on screen, please? I'm requesting, Mr. I want to listen. Can my audio be louder in the Delhi studio? I'm requesting Irfan Hafiz Loan. Mr. Loan, can my fallback be higher in the Delhi studio? Mr. Irfan Hafiz Loan, please do not interrupt Mr. Utpal call. I want to hear
There would
him.
have been no 19th of January and Kashmiri Pandits would have been there. So let me say what happened. On 19th of January, I give you this information which it has never come, that even when Jagmohan ascended the position of governor, he was not knowing that what was happening in 19th January. It was not from his administration, the news coming. It was some private people giving him news. Every administrative setup was collapsed. And there was no system of policing. There was army was in Kashmir, CRPF was in Kashmir, BSF was in Kashmir. And one more thing I want to add here, that there was no intelligence failure. The ground workers of intelligence were very active. They knew everything. And they were giving to senior officers information, and this information was going to Delhi. But who was stopping this and who was not allowing to act? And this was a subversion. It was a subversion, it was a game, and this game we have to expose.
I will respond.
One minute. Ahmad Ayaz ji.
I told Vivek Agnihotri that you are going to create history, because global Kashmiri Pandit diaspora persuaded him. Our co-founder in Houston, Dr. Surinder Kaul persuaded him for 1 year after having many meetings that we will make it sure you get all help, you get all the data, we will make it sure that you get all the interviews with the victims. And so Vivek Agnihotri interviewed nearly 700 victims of Kashmiri Pandits, and he saw the real genocide with his own eyes. And this film is real. And
Yes.
Arnabji, I am going to tell you, this film is a revolution. This film is not going to change the Indian system. This will change forever the Bollywood also. This will change whole system, and this is going to have will have world record. This
Yes.
movie.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
I always, Mr. Kaul, first of all, I think you've spoken brilliantly. I'm glad I went to you first. And before I take responses to what you have said,
Should I?
fundamental issue. Ahmad Ayazji, I'm just coming to you. You said this film will create history. Mr. Kaul, in this country, the truth has not been told. Let me tell you frankly first, as a journalist, I've seen this before, right? Whenever you speak the truth and you take a line which is not convenient to others, you're typecasted, you're stereotyped, you're told you're a right-winger, this and that. Things are said about you. Similarly, Mr. Kaul, and Ayazji will also appreciate it, you're both senior people, so is it in cinema. So is it in narrative, and so is it in the story, in the writing of our country's history, and so is it in the depiction of the truth in Kashmir. And I've been violently uncomfortable with films which use Kashmir as a backdrop. Kashmir is more than a backdrop. Kashmir has been used only as a backdrop by Bollywood. They have romanticized Kashmir up to a point where they don't want to look at the warts and the difficulties, the sacrifice, the murders, the killings, the rapes, and the threats. And so my question is, Ahmad Ayaz, when you listen to Utpal Kaul to you today, do you think Utpal Kaul does not want to go home? I'm looking at him today, and I say, if this man were to be given a chance to go home and live the rest of his life in Kashmir, he would take the next bus or flight or train, he would go and live there. But understand, Ahmad Ayaz, that not just
Definitely,
Utpal, no,
Arnabji, definitely.
you would want to go, right? But can you go? Why don't you tell Ahmad Ayaz? Can you go?
Yes, definitely.
Can you go?
Take
What is the
even
reality?
DTC bus from Delhi and I go to Kashmir.
You see, Arnab, well, there is no one in Kashmir who would not allow them to come. I think they must have seen themselves. Now, if at all they are coming in between, whether for puja or for business or for some other activity or to meet their friends in Kashmir, I don't think they will have any example to quote by them that they were not welcomed properly by the locals so far as majority community is concerned. Well, the situation which took place in 1990, their exodus, of course, was an unfortunate. But the point was to call it a genocide. I don't think that is fair, because it was not aimed against a particular religion or a particular party, particular community. It was saying
Let Anmol.
Well, the KPs being in.
You are lying. You are using the platform to perpetuate a lie.
Minority in Kashmir.
You just killed Makhanlal Bindru not more than 2 months back.
No,
and you have no shame in perpetuating lies day in, day out. This nonsense has gone on for 32 years.
No, it is not.
And this movie has exposed you.
Should you allow me to?
There is a scene in this movie where a neighbor goes and tells where the man is hiding, he was to be shot. Our neighbors got us killed. And even 32 years later, after being exposed, you have no shame in using national television to typecast such lies? Have you no conscience? Don't you realize what you did? Did you turn active collaborators of killers to get your neighbors targeted?
Don't call it.
You are a bunch of killers.
Don't call it.
You are a bunch of killers. You are active collaborators of killers.
If you are so interested to come back, if you are so interested to come back, do you think by making films like Kashmir Files, you will be in a position to bridge the gaps?
Oh, right. It's a threat.
We are going to come back and reassert our lives. Kashmir belongs to us as much as it does to you. We don't need invitation cards from you to come back to my... I don't need an invitation card from you to come back to my home.
which will divide people.
Okay, Ahmad Ayaz, I want to ask you something. Ahmad Ayaz, I want to ask you something.
An atmosphere need to be created.
You
to
don't
see
think
that.
about this when you lionize Yasin Malik, that a man who killed us is still your hero. You don't think about this when you lionize Bitta Karate. All our killers are your heroes, and you think we are creating a divide.
No.
You are talking nonsense, Mr. Ayaz.
I want to ask Mr. Ayaz something. Mr. Ayaz, my question is to you. My question is to you. Listen to me now.
Yes,
you said some time back that these people are coming back home for holidays or for business. For business trip. I'll tell you one thing, Mr. Ayaz. I will tell you tomorrow. You are sitting in your home in Kashmir, in Srinagar. Okay, I will tell you that if somebody comes to your house, threatens you, right, attacks you, you come out one day, you see your friends and family members have been killed, you leave. And after 10 years, you say, listen, I want to go home. Somebody says, listen, go for a nostalgia trip, 1-2 दिन के लिए घूम के आ जाओ, हो गई शांति आपकी. How dare you speak in that insulting tone to any of my panel? You think Utpal Kaul wants to go for a holiday?
We are not tourists.
No, you think Utpal Kaul wants to go for a holiday? No, I want Utpal Kaul to come in because I can see the man Spain on television today.
No.
You think he wants to go for a holiday or for business?
You're not understanding.
That is his home.
What I mean.
That is his home.
Right now.
I'm sorry, this doesn't add up for me. Ashok, let Utpal come in, please. I'll come to you.
No, I say if people are coming right
Arnab ji, I have not slept for last 32 years.
Let him speak, yeah, let him speak.
I am every day dreaming of Kashmir. Kashmir is in my blood.
Welcome. Nobody is against their coming.
In my DNA is the blood of Lalta Datya. In my DNA is the blood of Abhinav Gupta. Kashmir is not Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah, and Kashmir is not just few Mughals or few rulers. Kashmir is more than 10,000 years civilization. So how can we forget Kashmir? And now I want to give you the dimension what the Kashmiri Pandits want, Kashmiri Hindus want. Kashmiri Hindus want to go back to Kashmir, but not as tourists. They don't want to go and have a visit at Kheer Bhavani, pay homage to Mother Goddess or go to Amarnath.
They want
Please,
no, Mr.
Government of India,
Mr. Kaul,
understand.
you tell me,
We want
if you really are interested to come back, then what's the purpose of making films like this?
So that we can live.
No, what he's saying is, one minute. Okay, so Ahmad Ayaz, I understand what you're trying to say. I understand what you're trying to say. What he says is, can I just ask everyone to calm down? What he says is, and I want Vivek Raina to come in. And Vivek Raina is a Kashmiri Pandit. He's the son of A.K. Raina. His father was killed by Bitta Karate. And I want Nasir Khumani to come in. But what he's saying, what Ahmad Ayaz is saying, Vivek Raina, he said it 3 times. If you were really interested to come back, do you think you can come back after making films like Kashmir Files? In other words, what he's saying, Mr. Raina, is that if you want to come back with your head bowed, come back saying sorry to the terrorists, okay, and never question the terrorist supporters. Make peace with the fact that this will never be your home, and then we'll let you come for an occasional holiday. Occasional holiday, we'll let you come. That is what you're saying. Yes, Nasir? Yes, Nasir?
Let me tell you one thing. Violence has no religion, and the way Vivek Agnihotri produced this film, it is clearly based on lies, it is deception, it is propaganda, it is bias. It is one-sided story. Let me tell you one thing, there is an RTI reply.
Ashok in the middle.
There is an RTI reply. This is propaganda. This is propaganda. Hate, bias, deception, lies.
I was killed because I was a Hindu.
Lies.
I was raped because I was a Hindu.
One-sided story.
I supported genocide because I was a Hindu.
No, let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing.
हम क्या चाहते हैं? आजादी का मतलब क्या? ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह. हम क्या चाहते हैं?
Only 89 Kashmiri Pandits were killed during the inception of militancy in 1999.
for my genocide. Mosques were used for my
Let Vivek also come in. Let Vivek come in. Let Vivek come in. Let Vivek come in.
Let me go back to 32 years back.
Let Vivek come in. Ashok,
This is propaganda. This is one-sided
Ashok, let Vivek come
They
in.
have been shouting
Vivek Rana, please.
anti-Indian shouts. I have heard the anti-Indian shouts 32 years back. I have seen people coming on the roads. I have seen the militants in the mobs. And you say ki nothing has happened. I remember that night when the whole of the mosques, all the mosques in the valley were just saying, they were just giving the slogans, anti-Indian slogans. They were saying we want Kashmir with Kashmiri women, without Kashmiri Pandit. We want Kashmir with Kashmiri women, Kashmiri Pandit women, and all the Kashmiri Pandits should leave the state. I remember that time also. My father was killed, and I am witness to several terrorist acts. Like every day we used to hear different people have been killed. There were total blackouts every day. Every day there are blackouts, and we have to. We were living in a fear, in a terror, and even today we are living in a fear. After 32 years, you are not still able to recognize the movie, which is on the facts, which is on the truth.
Okay, before you make your point, 1 minute, Vivek, 1 minute. Before you make your point, Nasir, I want to talk to you. Okay? And don't speak over me. Just tell me. Why was Vivek Raina's father killed? Was he killed because of his religion or not?
No, not at all. Because violence has no religion.
No, 1 minute, just 1 minute. No, 1 minute. I want to ask him. Well, just a minute.
Other officers.
No, if you don't listen, I just 1 minute, Vivek, let me just take him on. You see, I'll tell you, Nasir, what you are doing right now is that you are not being able to handle the truth that I'm asking you straight. You cannot get away by saying no. Listen to me and don't speak over me. I'm not speaking over you, all right? And this nervousness that you are showing, that you want to speak over me, makes you feel that if you hear 2 or 3 sentences from me, you will not be able to sleep tonight. But my straightforward question to you is, again you're speaking over me, this way I cannot do the debate. You better be quiet first, then I'll speak to you. First you be quiet, then I'll speak to you. I can't speak to you if you are not hearing me. And by not hearing me, you are showing your lack of concern for what Kashmiri Pandits have gone through.
How many movies were made on Chitsinghpura massacres? Where hundreds of Kashmiri Sikhs were killed? Tell me how many films? How many times? How many times?
Chitsinghpura massacre is there in my film. Chitsinghpura massacre is there in my film. I made it. Have you seen that film?
Vivek call.
Utpal call. You have no right to talk for anyone.
I tell you that even our parliament members, they lied in parliament. And there should be law that if any parliament member will lie, he should be punished. And if you see, if Arnab ji, you will see records, what they said about Jagmohan, what they said about other acts in Kashmir, it was all bundle of lies. They were giving that BBC has said this, CNN has said this, and there was no news like this. They created such a false narrative, and they are now making that false narrative for 32 years, and they think that they will make foundation
I tell you one thing. No. I tell you one thing, Mr. Cole. And Irfan Hafiz Loan, who comes on the program, and he always likes to say that I'm a Gandhian. 1 minute, please. You see, you got to just, this is a reality, Mr. Loan, that if in life you don't accept what has happened, you can never move on. And I saw that there was this man, what's his name, the filmmaker, Vidhu Vinod Chopra, who gave an interview after making that film, and he said, 30 years have passed, people want to move on. First of all, Mr. Loan, nobody else but the Kashmiri Pandits can decide when they want to move on. And my second point is, why should they want to move on? Why should people move on? Moving on is like saying, let us put a cloud over it, let us debate it today, and let's have a new start tomorrow. It's not going to take away the fact, Sangrampura massacre, were Kashmiri Pandits pulled out of their home and massacred that night? Should I not talk about it because it makes you uncomfortable? Wandama massacre, 1998. 23 Kashmiri Pandits, including women and children, were shot in cold blood. People are trying to say, oh, it happened in one day in 1990. No, it's not one day in 1990. 2003 Wandama massacre, 24 Kashmiri Pandits, including infants, were shot dead. And you people are saying to Mr. Kaul and Vivek Raina and Anmol Ganju, who's stopping you from coming back? Which world do you live in, Mr. Ahmad Ayaz? Even now, people are threatened. And you are daring to come on my program and question their sincerity when they say we want to come back? I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one. No. Murders, gang rapes, grenade blasts, encounters, arrests, mass massacres happen.
Can I come in?
Yes, Irfan.
Arnab,
I'd like to hear from you.
All this. I said they are coming even right now.
Now can I come in?
Nobody can stop them.
Why was Sarvanand Kaul Premi? No. Why was Sarvanand Kaul Premi, a very, very famous Kashmiri poet, butchered near his house along with his son? You tell me. And you want to tell me how to come back? What if the Kashmiri Pandits turn around to you and say, and I want, 1 minute. I want to get Anmol in. Anmol and Irfan will debate this today. I'm saying today, Ahmad Ayaz, what kind of environment has been created for the peaceful return of the Kashmiri Pandits? What has that environment been created?
Not at all. On the contrary.
Anmol, you come in, yeah.
Not at all. That environment has not been created even today.
Now, can I come in?
Whatever Kashmiri Pandits stay there are being killed. Makhan Lal Bindru was killed not more than 6 months back. In the case of Kashmir, violence does have a religion. The calls to kill us came from mosques.
Now can I come in?
Not from temples. People were killed because of the faith they chose to practice. They were killed for their patriotism. They were killed by Islamic radicalism. In the context of Kashmir, yes, violence does have a religion.
What happened in Kashmir, if somebody say we should forget it and move on, I say only the monsters, Yellow Valley people can say that. Now let me tell you one thing, Arnabji, because I'm myself victim of it. My father he also lost his precious life when I was just a school going. So we all are victims. And I often say that bullet speaks only one language, that's blood. And blood speaks only one language, that's death and destruction.
I have full sympathy for you, but your father did not lose his life because he was a Muslim.
Now please, I didn't.
I have full sympathy for your loss, but your father did not lose his life because he was a Muslim, and that's a very important distinction to make.
Just give me half a minute,
people being killed because of the faith they choose to practice.
You can just rebut it, but just give me a half a minute. Arnab, human rights recognize no border, and human rights violation inter alia includes massacres, genocide, Gau Kadal, Konan Poshpora, Chatipora. A massacre and Konan Poshpora, and of course the Altaf's daughter who was juvenile demanding decent funeral dead body of his father. Wasn't that a brazen human rights violation?
You wanted Azadi.
Why are you selective?
You wanted freedom.
We all suffered in Kashmir.
On the security forces. You fought against India. You wanted independence. And tell me one thing. Isn't Yasir Malik your hero now? Isn't Burhan your hero? Are the terrorists not your heroes? Are you ready to say on Arnab's show that you today are going to say that Yasir Malik is a terrorist? Are you ready to say?
I'd ask him a more. I'd ask him a more. I'd ask him a more serious. I'd ask him. Ashokji. I have Pinul Kaul, who's a public debater on the program from Jammu. Pinul, 1 minute. Pinul.
Shame on you.
1 second, please.
Yes, sir.
Shame on you.
Okay,
yes, sir.
Shame on you.
Shame on you.
Shame on you for supporting terrorism and fighting against Kashmiri Hindus. Shame on you. The entire country, the entire world is saying shame on you because People have reacted to Kashmir files.
Irfan.
People have
motivated.
given an
This
overture
is
to
politically
this
motivated.
Shame on
Yes,
you.
we
Shame
all
on you
support.
for being with terrorists. Shame on you for fighting
Shame on you,
against
Ashok
Kashmiri
Kaul.
Hindus and
Shame
against
on
this
you
country.
for maintaining the criminal silence. When Conan
You
Poshpora
have
happened, shame
still
on
maintained
you.
criminal silence. You wanted
When
independence.
Gawkadal
You
happened,
wanted azadi.
when hundreds
You
of
wanted
people,
freedom.
innocent
So be it.
people were killed.
So be it.
Shame on
created
you.
Terrorism. So that's why you are facing
When
that.
Chatti Singh
You
Pora
deserve
happened,
that.
when
You deserve
Patrikal fake
that because
encounter
you
happened,
created.
when Machal encounter
you gave them
happened,
shelter, and you still
told
give
me
me
I'd
read
like
about
to, I'd like to
Kashmir.
just come in 1 minute, please. Can you stop shouting first of all? Thank you, Irfan Hafiz Loan. There is, Mr. Utpal Kaul, 1 minute. Mr. Utpal Kaul, 1 minute. Just 1 minute, please, sir. Now, Irfan Hafiz Loan, it's good to give these lectures. Simple question. There is a person sitting next to you in the Delhi studio, right? His name is Utpal Kaul. You heard him? Okay. My simple question to you, you look at Utpal Kaul. Look at Utpal Kaul in the eye, face to face today. Directly look at him and say, Mr. Kaul, Yasin Malik is a terrorist. And people like me supported him. Or at least just turn around to him and say, Yasin Malik is a terrorist. Just say, and one more thing, I'll tell you one more thing. Also tell Mr. Utpal Kaul one more thing. Tell him that Mehbooba Mufti, who is saying there should be healing of old wounds, should first explain why she has
What
been...
about
why,
those
why,
who
don't do
killed- who
whataboutery with
killed-
me.
who did-
Don't do whataboutery with me. I'm asking you a question. I don't accept your whataboutery. Why don't you call Yasin Malik a terrorist on television in the presence of a Kashmiri Pandit?
Why are you selective?
I'm not
About your
selective.
fellow human beings.
You call a Yasin, you people are the ones who are supporting Yasin Malik. The Yasin Malik said that the killing of Kashmiris was Pandits was justified. Yasin Malik said that Kashmiri Pandits were legitimate targets. Yasin Malik said it. You gather the guts and take a position on Yasin Malik. Say it in the presence of a Kashmiri Pandit.
Let me say, because my friend won't be able to say it. He won't be able to say you. I say Yasin Malik and Bit Karate, they must be hanged at Lal Chowk. They must be hanged at Lal Chowk.
Excellent.
Because they are the people who destroyed Kashmir. These people destroyed Kashmir. And these people destroyed Kashmir.
Okay, since you're complicating it, I'll ask a simple question. I want Anmol to come into the debate right now with Nasir Khumani. Nasir Khumani, I have two people, two proud Kashmiri Pandits, two proud fellow Indian citizens with me on the program. One's name is Vivek Raina, and the other's name is Anmol Ganju. Okay? I want both on the air right now with me. Okay? Nasir Khumani, now listen to my question. These two gentlemen will listen to your answer. Okay, Ashok? Then let them confront the reality. Can I have 3 of them, 4 of them on the screen? Then I'll take it forward. Anand, can I please have Utpal Kaul, Vivek Raina, who's the son of A.K. Raina, and Mr. Anmol Ganju on the program, please. And I want them face to face with Nasir Khumani right now. I'll wait a minute. Yes. Now, Nasir Khumani, you said it was all lies. I want you to first tell Anmol Ganju, his grandfather, Justice Ganju, was killed, shot at. Can you please tell me, since you said he was not killed for being a Hindu, I want to know, since you know so much about Kashmir and its history, why was, you tell him face to face directly, he's listening to you, why was his grandfather killed? Just tell me, what is your understanding?
Arnab, I told you that violence has no religion.
No, I'm asking you, why was his grandfather killed?
Fine.
Did I justify violence?
Let me
Why was
complete.
his grandfather killed?
Whatever happened.
No, why was his, no, whatever happened, no, Baba, you are not going to get away with whatever happened. My question is very simple, Nasir, calm down and understand. I will not let go of this question. I am asking you today, I want that when Anmol Ganju leaves my studio today, he should get an answer from you. You should answer him. Why was Justice Ganju killed? Why was Justice Ganju killed?
I told you, be Kashmiri Pandit, Kashmiri Muslim or Kashmiri Sikh. We don't believe on violence. Whatever happened with them, we condemn it.
But why was his grandfather killed?
We are sorry for that.
No, but why was he killed? You don't have to be sorry. You have not played a role in the killing of his grandfather, but why was his grandfather killed? Why was this man's grandfather killed?
This is the RTI replay.
Don't give me your Google searches. Why was his grandfather killed?
This is the RTI replay of Jammu and Kashmir police, where they clearly mentioned only 84 people were killed since the inception of militancy in 1990s, whereas 1,635 of people of other faith were also killed.
So what you are saying is that more should have been killed. 89 is not a good enough number. This is what Owaisi also said on the floor of the parliament. Sirf 89 mare. Are these people sad about the fact that not enough were killed?
This is a very appalling and unfortunate
You are reducing it to a number?
This is the
No, so what? So what? Do you want more should have been killed? More people should have been killed? That would have satisfied you? Because your plans to annihilate the whole community were short-circuited? You could not achieve your aims? Is that what you are trying to say? This is...
They're not being able to answer. Now I now invite Mr. Vivek Raina to come on screen with Ahmed Ayaz. Ahmed Ayaz, you tell me, Ahmed Ayaz, don't tell me. Vivek Raina, his father was killed by Bitta Karate. I want to know, since you also said it is lies, why was Vivek Raina's father killed? Was he killed because of his religion? Was he killed because he was a Kashmiri Pandit? Was he killed because he was a Hindu? Just say yes or no. Was he killed because he was a Hindu?
Sure.
Yes.
It's a very, 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 very reasonable question. No, he was not killed because of he was Hindu. Then Maulana Masoodi would not have been killed. Then Maulana Farooq would not have been killed.
He was killed because he was a Hindu.
Not killed.
He was killed because he was a Hindu, because they wanted us that we should be terrorized. Basically, they mentally wanted us to go back from the...
No, don't tell Mr. Raina.
They wanted us to leave Kashmir. Every day we used to listen.
How these people got killed? You are talking why Mr. Raina. I tell you why these people were killed.
Yes.
It was not only Raina. It was the person who came to their who came to their town. It was not aimed against the Hindus. It was not aimed against it.
No, I'd like, also listening to the debate is Pinul Call. I went to him earlier, but I couldn't include him. Pinul, you're a public debater. I welcome you in the program, though late. What do you make of the debate so far, both as a public debater tonight and as a Kashmiri Pandit? Pinul.
I will tell you.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Go on, Pinul. I can hear you. Go on, Pinul. Make your point directly to any of our panelists.
Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you loud and clear. Go on, Pinul. Go on.
First of all, I want to congratulate you, sir, for soaring BARC ratings. First of all.
Thank you, sir.
I am a nationalist, so are you. That's why I am a big fan of yours. Now, coming on to the issue of debate, sir, I have to relate a story to you and to all the debaters on the panel. This is a story about my in-laws who have gone through the mayhem in the year 1990. You must have heard about a family known as Ganju family. It was a big family, a joint family residing in the heart of Srinagar city, and the area is known as Habakadal. The head of the family was a lady who was bedridden, had medical history, and her son, who happens to be my father-in-law. His name is Jawaharlal Ganju. Doctors had advised him not to move out of Srinagar because his mother will otherwise, who was a medical patient, should not leave Srinagar because she will die en route. So they stay put in their residence at Habakadal, Malapura, Habakadal, Srinagar. And one afternoon on 17th June, it was a Sunday, at 4 o'clock, a group of militants, terrorists came to their house. They broke open the house. The whole family was staying in first floor. When they heard the this sound of breaking of this door, one by one they came down, and the terrorists shot indiscriminately in their on them. Whosoever came down, they were shot at by their automatic weapons. First, they shot 6 people. 6 family members, whosoever came down, they shot 6 family members right on the stairs. And all of those 6 people were lying in the pool of blood. They wanted to go upstairs and vanish all the family, but they could not because the dead bodies blocked their way.
My God.
The name of the dead are my father-in-law, Mr. Jawaharlal Ganju, then his wife, Mrs. Prana Ganju, then his sister of my father-in-law, she was Durga Kaul, and his brother-in-law, that means Durga Kaul's husband, that is Badrinath Kaul. Then my wife's elder brother, who was adopted to his uncle, Mr. Ashok Kaul, he too was shot at, and my wife's sister, elder sister, Nancy Rana, she was also shot at. And all the 6 bodies were lying in the pool of blood. Then after shooting them and not able to going upstairs, they left the place. They left the place and nobody came to their rescue from the neighborhood. Sir, the only 2, all the 4 people, out of 6 people, 4 were dead there and then. Only 2 people survived. One was Ashok Kaul and one was Nancy Rana, my wife's elder sister and cousin brother. These 2 people survived. 4 died instantly there. From then onwards, my wife is suffering from neuro problem, and she goes into depression every now and then. She is under the treatment of a famous neurologist, Mr. Sushil Razdan. We have faced what we have, but these people, these apologists, they are counting the numbers. How many numbers? How many numbers do they want to have been killed so that they can recognize them as genocide? Kashmiri Pandit genocide. We have lost our roots. We are the aboriginal residents of Kashmir, and we have lost everything. And my big salute to Mr. Vivek Agnihotri,
Absolutely.
who has shown his grit and determination to come out with the brutal truth which these apologists are unable to swallow. That's what they are. They are the apologists.
And nothing remains to be said today after this, Ashok. But even after this, if people don't understand and come to terms with what has happened and are in denial about it.
There are 7 lakh stories. There are 7 lakh. The entire population has one story each, like what this gentleman has said. Every family has gone on this.
Yeah.
And then they question us, they are counting us in numbers. Yeah. We have not killed anyone. We have not raped anyone. Yeah. We have not done anything wrong to anyone.
It's not necessary.
And then these shameless people are raising question on us.
It's not necessary where Mr. Ashok Pandit resides. Whether he resides in Srinagar, whether he resides in Shimla, or he resides in Singapore. He feels the pain for his fellow community member. That's what he is feeling.
And Irfan Lone, I know you're saying something right now. Just I'm telling you one thing. It is good for the future generations of Kashmir as well. There will be no healing unless you recognize what happened. For healing to happen, listen to me. I'll just end with one line today. I'll end with one line. With folded hands, I'm begging you to listen to me. There are senior people like Utpal Kaul. I want him to speak, but I just say one thing before I give you the last word, Mr. Kaul. For healing to happen, there first has to be acceptance. Healing cannot happen when there is denial. Yes, Mr. Kaul, last word to you.
Kashmiri Pandits want that they are the victims of genocide. We want reversal of genocide. We want a tribunal or Supreme Court judge to investigate and punish all those people, those who did this to us.
Yes.
And it should be an exemplary punishment to all those terrorists, all those jihadis who did this.
I applaud you for I applaud you all for your bravery, and I thank you all for your time this evening. This debate does not end here. This debate only begins here. And I shall see you, ladies and gentlemen, at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Till then, goodbye.